观众朋友们，大家好，欢迎收看《洋厨房卖家秀买家秀》，我是刘烨。我记得呢，有一句话曾经很火，叫"世界那么大，我想去看看"。不过对于吃货来说啊，应该就是"世界那么大，我想去吃吃看"。那在我们的买家秀当中啊，您足不出户就可以领略到世界各地的美食。那我们一起来看看今天的卖家秀啊，都会带给您哪些惊艳的美味吧。
You want to know what it's like living with a farmer in the winter? It's great because we get to enjoy extra family time. So today, the in-laws are coming over for a cozy dinner, and for dessert, I'm making my Halva Apple Pie Bars. They're so buttery, they're super Midwestern, they're way less labor-intensive to make than a whole apple pie, and they're easier to eat. It's a three-step process. I'll make the crust, the filling, and the top. Easy. To get started, I'll add 3/4 of a cup of softened, unsalted butter to my stand mixer. And then I'll add a 1/4 cup of sugar, a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. This will be a great buttery shortbread base for those apples. Okay, I'll get this mixing. I'll mix it on medium until it's fluffy. I'm going to add 1 cup of all-purpose flour and 1/2 cup of whole wheat flour. And I'll mix this until the flour combines and forms a dough. And that'll be good to go. I'll scrape it off the beater. I have my pan that's been lined with parchment paper. I'll scrape the dough right into the pan. I'll press this out evenly. So when the snow falls, Nick and his dad have a different set of priorities. It basically revolves around fixing up tractors, doing repairs that they didn't have time to do during the busy farming season. The name of the game is detailed preventative maintenance. The crust looks great. I'll bake it now at 350 for 10 minutes until it's just set. And while that's in the oven, I'll make my apple filling. I love the subtle sourness that the apples give to these bars. I'm using a tart Granny Smith and a sweet Gala, and the combination adds great dimension. First, I'm going to peel them. I don't like peeling apples either, but taking away the peels helps them get ooier and gooier. So I'll just skim off the top. And the Gala. And now I'll slice these into 1/4-inch slices. Okay, the apples are chopped. I'll pile these in. And then the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna squeeze some lemon over them, and that's gonna prevent them from browning. I'll toss these around. For the rest of my filling ingredients, I'll add 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. And the dark molassesy flavor of the brown sugar goes so nicely with these. 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, which will help the filling stay together. A 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then for my spices, I've got a teaspoon of cinnamon, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cardamom, and it's great woodsy floral notes. And then some freshly grated nutmeg. Okay, I'll mix everything together. The filling looks great. It's time to check on the crust. I'm smelling that butteriness. This looks perfect. I'll add the apples right on top. I'll spread them out. And now I just have to make the final element of my pie bars, the sweet cinnamon crumble. You just add flour, brown sugar, salt, and cinnamon, then whisk everything until it's A-OK combined. And what makes this into a crumble is the butter. I have 6 tablespoons of softened, unsalted butter. And I'll get in here with my hands and smash it up with the dry ingredients so that it gets crumbly. The butter is thoroughly incorporated into the dry ingredients, so now I'll distribute it all over the top of the apples. Now, these would be delicious as is, but I'm gonna up the ante and add some halva. Halva is a sweet, crumbly candy made of sesame seeds, and it goes so well with the apples and the cinnamon, so I'm gonna crumble this all over the top. We have like 6 different shades of beige here. I'm gonna add some color. few pinches of sprinkles will not do any harm. These look perfect. I'll put them into bake at 350 for 35 to 40 minutes until they're lightly browned. Yes, these are beautiful. I can smell all those spices. I'm gonna let these cool in the pan and then I'll cut into bars. Here I go for a taste. So buttery and sweet, and that touch of sourness from the Granny Smith is perfect. Say goodbye, pie. These bars are here to stay. Nick and his dad are busy in the shop maintaining all the farm gear, and I know they're working up an appetite. So I'm putting together a little lunch to tide us all over until dinner. I'm making my sweet flatbreads with lemon yogurt whipped cream, which are like a cross between a pancake and a crumpet. They have a crisp buttery bottom and a spongy top. They're sublime. To get started, I'll put together my batter. I'll take 2 cups of all-purpose flour, a tablespoon of sugar, and I'll also add both a tablespoon of baking powder and a packet of yeast. And the combination of those 2 leavening agents creates this very unique spongy texture, and the yeast will add that slight fermentiness. Okay, I'll add 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. I'll whisk this to combine. And now I'll add my wet ingredients. I'll add 1 cup of Greek yogurt, which will give it a nice tang. Adding yogurt is kind of like adding buttermilk to pancake batter. And then I'll get 1.5 cups of water. And 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and 1/2 teaspoon of almond extract. Growing up, my mom always added almond extract to pancakes, even if the recipe didn't tell you to. So I'm just like conditioned to need a bit of almond in my pancake. That's just the loveliest nutty undertones. And I'll whisk this until there are no more lumps. So this pancake is my take on a Yemeni flatbread called lahu, and it's traditionally served in a savory application to soak up soups and stews, but I think it's really delicious in a sweet way also. One thing that's awesome about this batter is that you can easily make it the night before and keep it in the fridge, but I think Nick and his dad are getting hungry. So I'm gonna cover it and keep it out until it's doubled in size and bubbly. I can already smell the fermenty goodness. My batter has doubled in size and now it's ready to griddle just like the pancake gods intended. Ooh, it smells fermenty. Okay, I've got my pan heating here, and I'm gonna add a pat of butter. The key to a good pancake is adding enough butter, and I'm gonna keep it near because I wanna add it in between cooking each pancake. I'll add a scoop of my batter. And I always cook these flatbreads in cast iron. It retains the heat nicely so that the top can get evenly cooked. The bubbles are starting to pop. It's getting there, and I'm not actually gonna flip it because I want those bubbles to stay open. That's how you get that cool spongy texture. I think Nick is gonna love these. This is looking good. Oh yeah, it's gorgeously golden. It's wholly on top. This is perfect. I'm gonna make a few more now. For my toppings, I've got pomegranate seeds and my lemon yogurt whipped cream, which is homemade whipped cream with some Greek yogurt and lemon zest mixed in, so it's extra tangy and good. I'll dollop this on. And this is a topping that I put on ice cream, on waffles. Sometimes I eat it with a spoon. I'll zhuzh it around. Oh yeah, that's pretty. I'll drizzle it with some honey, just a little something different than your typical maple syrup. And yogurt and honey are a classic combo. And then I'll finish with some pomegranate seeds, which will add beautiful color and sweet tartness. And lastly, some pistachios will add great crunch and green color. These are some fabulous flatbreads. Okay, I just need to package them up and bring them out to the shop. I know I'm hungry. I bet the guys are too.
Hey, Nick, how many do you need?
3, please.
Gotcha.
Hey guys,
Hey.
Molly.
how's it going?
Good.
I think better now.
I brought you a light lunch.
What you got in there?
You have to wait and see.
Wow, look at that.
It's a pancake with lemon yogurt, whipped cream, a little honey, and pomegranate seeds and pistachios.
Man,
Looks perfect.
You just eat it like a taco.
tremendous.
This is good.
Keep on working up an appetite because I'm making dinner.
I'll be there.
And I can't wait.
It's wintertime on the farm, so I'm making an appropriately comfy dinner for the whole family to enjoy. For the main course, we're having my spiced chicken pot pies, which are rich and creamy with a flaky, buttery top. To start, I've crisped up some chicken thighs, and they still have their skin on it because I want that fat to add flavor to the filling. I'll let the chicken cool while I get my vegetables cooking. I'll add my onion, carrot, and celery right into the pan. If there's any smell that's better than an onion cooking, it's an onion cooking in chicken fat. I'm gonna add a pinch of salt. The salt is gonna help these vegetables soften. And I'll cook this for a few minutes until they're soft and translucent. Chicken pot pie is the ultimate winter food because it is so hearty and comforting. It's like a hug for your insides. Okay, these vegetables are looking great. I'm gonna grab some fresh ginger and my Hawaiiage. What makes this pot pie extra special is the addition of Hawaiiage, which has turmeric, cardamom, coriander, cumin, ginger, and some black pepper. You can buy it from the store or just make it with spice cabinet staples. So I'm gonna add a tablespoon of this. I'm gonna enhance the ginger that's already in here with some fresh ginger. This will add some zing. I'll give this a stir and let the spices toast and wake back up. Now that the spices are toasted, I'll add 6 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. And when the flour combines with the chicken fat, it's gonna make a roux, which will help the mixture get thick and creamy. This looks great. I'm ready to add the stock. I have 2½ cups of low-sodium chicken stock simmering on my stove here. And I wanna stir it continuously to make sure that it thickens. Anytime it snows, Nick is in charge of snow removal. So he straps the plow onto the front of the tractor, and then he just pushes the snow off to the side. It's a never-ending process, but he doesn't complain, and I think this chicken pot pie is gonna warm him up. This is thickening up gorgeously. Okay, I'm gonna let this heat on low while I chop up my herbs. I like a mixture of parsley and dill here. And I'll add these right to the filling. Next, I'll grab my frozen peas. These will add a touch of sweetness, and I'll eyeball in about 3/4 of a cup. I'll stir these in. All right, now I'm gonna grab my chicken. And I'm gonna get in here with my hands to pull the chicken off the bones. And I'm not actually adding the skin to the filling. The skin's done its job already, but it's a good snack. Okay, I'll pull the chicken off of the bones. I'll chop this into bite-sized pieces. And I'll add this chicken directly into the filling. It's gonna be so good. I'll stir this in. Okay, I'm gonna finish it with some cream now. And then I also have my cute little pots. And I'll eyeball in about 1/2 cup of heavy cream. Stir this in, and this will add even more richness. I'm gonna taste it to make sure all the seasoning levels are correct. so comforting. And that hint of sweetness from the peas is perfect. That's delicious. It's time to ladle it into my little pots. And I want to leave about 3/4 of an inch or an inch of space at the top because the mixture will bubble up in the oven. These look scrumptious. I'm ready for the top. I've got my puff pastry, which I've thawed in the fridge, and my rolling pin. And I'm gonna unfold one sheet. I'm rolling this out so that I can cut it into 4 squares that are each slightly bigger than the tops of the pots because puff pastry will shrink a little bit in the oven. And then before I put it onto the top of the pot, I'm gonna cut the vents. It's easier to do it here as opposed to on top of the pie. And this allows some of the steam to escape rather than puffing it up and potentially breaking the crust. And all I'm gonna do is lay the puff pastry right on top, like that. And then I'll brush it with some egg wash. And then the egg wash is also gonna help my sesame seeds stick. And lastly, a couple of pinches of flaky salt, extra flavor and crunch. And now I'll top the rest, and these are gonna warm my soul and my tummy. These are so cute. I'm gonna bake them at 425 for 20 minutes until they're golden and bubbly, and they are gonna be everything this winter day needs, and then some. It's almost time for our comforting dinner on the farm. Nick and his dad are about to get washed up, and Roxanne's coming over too. I'm so stoked. For a quick vegetable side that screams winter, I am making my chili Brussels sprouts, which are crisp and they have great dark smoky pepper flavor, and they couldn't be simpler to make. To get started, I'm searing them cut side down, and I'm seasoning them with salt. And now I'm gonna grab my Urfa pepper. Urfa is awesome. It's a dried Turkish chili pepper that's dark and smoky, and it has notes of raisins. And if you don't have Urfa, you can use paprika instead. I'm gonna sprinkle in about 2 teaspoons. I'll add some black pepper. I'll give these a toss. These have great color. Now that the outside is crisp, I can stick them in the oven at 400 degrees for about 10 minutes so that the inside can cook. Oh yeah. These look great. I'm gonna finish these with the zest and juice of a lemon. This will really liven it up. I'll toss these around. Oh gosh, oh, so many good smells right here. And lastly, some flaky salt. Let me taste. The pepper and the lemon together are perfect. This is a solid side. Oh yeah, these look insane. And they smell so savory and mouthwatering. Let's eat immediately.
Wow.
Oh, this looks so good.
Hi, everybody.
Molly.
Hey.
I hope you're hungry.
Wow.
These are spiced chicken pot pies.
That looks incredible.
I've been waiting all day for these.
These
Good.
are adorable, Molly.
Well, dig in.
It's winter goodness at its best.
So how's it going in the shop?
It's going great, you know, we're just being ready for spring when it comes.
You know, you're the only one that could get Roger to eat Brussels sprouts.
Yeah.
Now they are my favorite, Molly. Thank you.
Did you guys save room for dessert?
Yep.
These are apple pie bars with halva on top.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Molly.
So Roger, do you think you're gonna take up a baking hobby this winter?
Yes, well, I heard you were giving lessons, Molly.
You're gonna make us apple pie bars every single week?
I have signed up.
Better put a help wanted sign in the farm journal.
Nick is super busy harvesting his first round of sugar beets, which means that he needs some extra cozy pep in his dinner step. So I'm making my spiced beef hot dish with bacon jalapeno cornbread. It is comfort food at its finest. It's meaty with a sweet and spiced warmth. Gives me all the feels. To get started, I'm crisping up some bacon because I'm going to use the bacon fat to brown my beef. And then later, I'll use the actual bacon to go in my cornbread. And I'm doing this all in a brazier that's going to get stuck in the oven. So this all is built in one pot. My bacon is looking really crispy. I'll transfer it to a paper towel. I'll season my beef now. I have 3 pounds of beef chuck that's been cut into cubes. Now I'm going to brown this in batches. And that is the sizzle that I want to hear. If I add too much meat, it's going to lower the temperature of the pan, and I'm not going to get that crust. So just be patient with this. This stew is inspired by my love of making chili and cornbread in this same pot. So you have less dishes that way, and then you also have all of those textures. You have the stewy chili, that golden cornbread, and then in the middle there's that magic where the cornbread soaks up the chili. It's so good. It is the definition of hearty harvest food. Okay, my meat is looking great right now. It's really beautifully browned. I'm gonna transfer this to a dish now, and then I'm gonna continue browning the rest of my meat. And at this point it's not fully cooked, but it's gonna continue to cook once I get it in the stew, and then it'll melt right down and get so tender. My meat is finished. Time for my veggies. I'll add my chopped onion, carrot, and jalapeno. And the carrot is going to add really nice sweetness. It is smelling so good in here already. And if you don't have baharat, you can pull a few of the spices that are in it and play with the flavors. Or you can use a different spice blend and take yourself on a different flavor journey. Garam masala would be really good with this. Or you can just go straight chili powder. The world is your stew oyster. Those spices smell great. I'm ready to add my tomatoes. I have a 14-ounce can of fire-roasted tomatoes, just extra smokiness, and 14 ounces of beef stock. It's not actually that much liquid because this stew is going to be really thick and hearty. And now the liquid is loosening all of those tasty bits at the bottom of the pan. So I'm going to scrape those up and make sure they get incorporated. I'll add my beef back in. And these pieces, once this is done cooking, are gonna fall apart and be so tender. Now I'm gonna add one of my favorite parts about this stew, golden raisins. I know, this is unexpected, but golden raisins had these surprise pops of sweet glee that go with the baharat and make it sing. I'm gonna add half a cup of golden raisins. And they're gonna plump up in this liquid and get juicy and become almost like meaty candy, which is a good thing. And lastly, a couple of cans of chickpeas. And these add a creamy richness and also more protein. Nick is gonna love it. Let me stir this in. I love that this all comes together in the same pot. This is so beautiful. I also love all the colors in this and the textures. And I'll season with some more salt and pepper. And then I'm gonna simmer this for 1 to 1.5 hours and let the flavors marry and this meat get fall apart tender. I can't wait. All right, I've got my scoop for the cornbread, and I'm gonna dollop my cornbread all over the top. And then bake it at 400 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes until it's golden brown. I can feel the comfort already. I'm gonna check on my spiced beef hot dish. Oh yeah, baby. It's bubbly and that cornbread is so toasty. Before I serve it, I'll sprinkle it with some fresh parsley.
今天的卖家秀和买家秀都是精彩纷呈，也请记得每周收看我们的洋厨房，将带您尝遍世界各地的美食。好了，我们今天的节目就到这儿了，感谢您的收看，下周同一时间不见不散啦！